Well, Shannon, we have some very sad news to report. Oscar-winning actor Philip Seymour Hoffman died of an apparent heroin overdose Sunday morning. The 46-year-old actor was discovered on the bathroom floor in his West Village apartment after missing an appointment with his 3 children. According to police sources, he was found with a needle in his arm, and empty drug envelopes were found throughout his apartment.
Wow. Celebrities took to social media to share their grief. On Twitter, comic Rick Grievous, he wrote, quote, "Such shocking news. R.I.P. Philip Seymour Hoffman, one of the greatest actors of a generation, on a sweet, funny, and humble man." Girls creator Lena Dunham wrote, "Beautiful, beautiful man. We have lost such a joy to something so joyless." And Jamie Lee Curtis had this to say, "Good morning, heartache. Stop hurting me now. P.S. Join so many talented and addicted." Wow.
And here with more about Philip Seymour Hoffman's life and legacy is Arise film critic Mike Sargent. Mike, my goodness, the outpouring has been tremendous.
He's one of those actors who will always be remembered. There's always a role that you remember him most for, that you first noticed him for. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, he was only 46, and yet he's already being called one of the best or greatest actors of his generation.
He was.
How do you feel about that assessment, and why was he so special?
Well, you know, the thing is about Philip Seymour Hoffman, he's one of those actors who exemplified what you could achieve if you were dedicated to your craft. You know, he's an actor in the same line as Paul Robeson, Meryl Streep, you know, actors who came from theater, who were able to make the transition and keep going back from theater to film. And he brought to film all those things that you learn in theater, how you use your body, how you use your language, your dialect, your cadence. He brought everything to it. And even in a small role, if you ever see, you know, he started out on Law and Order.
Wow.
And you see him on that, you knew, like, wow, he took it to another level.
He had something.
Yes, he did.
And that's why a lot of people call him an actor's actor.
He's definitely
he
an
has such
actor's
great
actor.
range.
Definitely.
I mean, he played Truman Capote, which won him an Oscar for Best Actor in 2005, and he recently starred in The Hunger Games. Talk to us about his range and the capabilities that he has.
Well, 2 things. His range, the best way to describe him would be diversity and intensity. Okay? He didn't just win an Oscar for Capote. He won 23 other awards for that film.
I didn't realize that.
Yes, he did. And he's one of the few actors to win, you know, like all the major awards. He won the BAFTA, he won the Golden Globe, he won just about everything you could win for that. Then on top of that,
Capote was so special because, I mean, Philip Seymour Hoffman, he had the build of a football player. I mean, he was 5'10" and stocky. Truman Capote was only 5'3" and very slight. And somehow he managed to play Capote more convincingly than even Capote.
well, not only that, it's again how he used his body. He would immerse himself in the role. Supposedly, when he was making that film, he would never come out of character.
Really?
He'd stay as Capote in between takes the entire time of filming. And when you see the film, you see like all of that work he was on, that method. It paid off because he was Capote.
He was.
When you watch it, and another Capote
Down
film
to
that
the
come
voice.
out, completely, you completely buy him, and that's what I think set him apart from all of his peers. You know, he's that actor that other actors want to be. He inspires, you know, young, up-and-coming, especially when you're in theater in New York. He's sort of the penultimate New York actor that could come out of just doing that he started the Labyrinth Theater, which is a theater group. And this is...
And he was artistic director there
Yes, he was artistic
some years.
for many years, along with Eric Bogosian and people like that. And those are the people who really have helped redefine. Every generation has those actors who redefine acting and what you can achieve, and he was one of those actors, I think.
Wow. Well, you mentioned acting on stage. He was a tour de force in the theater, and he actually won, what is it, 3 Tony Awards?
Yes, well, he was nominated for 2 Tonys.
Nominated for 2, wow.
Okay, and again, this is after winning an Oscar, after winning the BAFTA, the Golden Globe, the Critics' Choice,
They say his Willy Loman in Death of a Salesman is the definitive Willy Loman. What do you think?
I think it is definitive. I think even more so than the Dustin Hoffman version. And Hoffman was that actor from that generation. I'd say Hoffman easily, hands down, made it his own.
But he never became a household name. Why do you think that is?
Well, I think
he's an actor's actor.
He's one of those
regarded
actors
as,
that a lot of character actors who, and if he was alive, he'd be working until he was in his 80s, like Charles Durning.
Right.
He's one of those actors like Charles Durning, where you may not know his face, but as soon as you saw him, you go, oh, I know him. He was good in whatever.
Yes.
And he's that kind of actor because he was so diverse and because he played so many different roles. You look at him in Charlie Wilson's War or Along Came Polly or any of these films, even Magnolia.
Boogie Nights,
Boogie
Mission
Nights.
Impossible,
Doubt,
Hunger Games,
Twister.
Doubt.
You look at
Let's
look
go
1999. He came out with Flawless, Magnolia, and I forget there was one more that same year, and all so diverse.
Wow.
So that's what you remember for him, that he could just show up and blow you out of the water.
So since he was able to play so many characters, what do you think he would be remembered most for?
You know, it's a good question. I mean, I think, recently, because he had just finished the Mockingjay series. I think young people may remember him for that because he was so good and he was just in Mission Impossible. But I think probably for Doubt,
Yes.
he'll probably be remembered.
And he played a priest in Doubt,
Played
a
a priest in Doubt,
conflicted
a
priest.
conflicted
Yes.
priest. He was very memorable in that. It's hard to say because it depends on really what you enjoyed most. I mean, you just name the film, you go, wow, yeah, he was really good in that. And you name, yeah, he was really good in that. He's just one of those actors.
I loved him in Talented Mr. Ripley.
That's the other film,
Fantastic,
1999.
yes.
The same year, Flawless and Magnolia.
He was
That's
fantastic.
a hell of a year.
And it was, again, a small role, but just he made the most of it.
Yes, he did.
But do you think that his legacy will be tainted because of his addiction and how he?
No, I think he's more like a cautionary tale, because it was May of last year that he admitted he was going in for rehab.
Yes.
And I happen to know a number of people who knew him from when he first started. A couple of good friends of mine were part of Labyrinth and had the first play there.
What insight did they give you about him and his struggles with drugs?
Well, just that he was kind of a private / public person. People who knew him knew he was battling demons, but on the surface, it never affected his work. I mean, when he did Almost Famous, he had a flu the entire time of filming.
Wow.
But you would never know it. He was still amazing in the film. So he's that level of dedication where it doesn't matter how sick he is, or even if he had his demons, he still showed up. He was there. He was doing his thing. I mean, when you look at him, you go, he's only 46. He does look a lot older.
Yeah.
Like he's lived that 46.
Yeah.
But again, if you look at those interviews, he talked about the fact when he was 22 and he had almost, died, that, he couldn't stop himself. And so that says a lot about his work. He was voracious in his appetites.
Well, now we're happy that we will be able to look at that work for years to come, and his legacy will live on through his movies.
Definitely.
Mike Sargent, thank you so much.
Oh, you're welcome.
All right, come again soon, under better
I was going to
circumstances,
say, hopefully,
okay?
when somebody's doing great.
Yes, and alive and well. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
And you're watching Arise Entertainment 360.